Hey folks, Big Woodsman here. Today we're in the shop because we're going to be building a fishing lure out of Lego. So stay tuned. Let's see what we get into. So every year, a bunch of friends and I get together for a fishing trip, and we decide that we would have a homemade lure fishing derby. So you can see one of those videos that I posted last year from the derby, and then whoever wins the derby gets to choose what the lure is made of for the next year. So last year I happened to win, so this year we're making our lures out of Lego. That was my choice. So curious to see what the guys come up with this year. So today, let's fabricate a Lego fishing lure. So I'm not quite sure what we're gonna do yet. I got an idea, but let's see what we can come up with. First, we gotta find our Lego bins from when we were a kid. This looks like the right bin. So I found this old fishing lure. I think it's going to act perfectly for our Lego fishing lure. Basically see if we can cannibalize this. It's got a nice spinner on the front, nice spinner on the back, 2 trebles. Should be perfect for just about converting this into a Lego lure. So let's now go to our Lego pile and see if we can find something that's going to work to match this. So let's see what we got here. We got some car axles, a lot of square blocks. Oh, couple of heads. Oh, we got a winch with a rope. I remember that as a kid. A lot of blue, red, white, and yellow. Straight up. Oh, simple tree. And clear. So we got a pile of bricks, but I think we're gonna stick with, oh, we got a rocket ship engine here. That might come in handy. You never know. So let's basically sort through it. There's an old truck body. Shell oil. So I guess let's start going through it and see if we can find something that's gonna look and act like a fishing lure. So our fishing lure is about 4 inches long. If we look at roughly, ooh, that's pretty close. So if we look at red and maybe adding some type of small white bits to the front, or maybe we do it vice versa, we can do something a little interesting with that. We'll put this guy over there so you can watch us working. There's a forklift. Oh, here's our shell truck with a hitch. We could do a jointed lure. Interesting. I don't know, that wouldn't stay on though. First fish and you'd lose it, but pretty interesting. So I'm thinking off the front of the lure, maybe one of these angled pieces, something like this that sort of acts like a lip so it actually dives down in the water. Here's the same thing in gray. I'm even wondering something like our rocket ship booster engine. What if we did something like that? Possible. Some nice little Lego flowers. You can add that in there. You know what we need is one of those Lego people, one of those little Lego people heads. And then if we can put that on there, and we can say we've got everything, including the kitchen faucet. Oh. Similar. So I think we figured out a rough design. We were going to go white with a red body, but I don't think that's going to work quite as well. So I found a couple of these guys. We're going to go a red head with a white body. So we just need another long piece. Okay. It gives us our rough shape. So now I guess the question is, do we stick with white on the back? Do we put a tip of red? Do we put yellow? I guess we can try a couple different colors and see. Let's see how blue looks. No, not feeling it. I think we'll just stick with the white. I'm going to see if I can find a white that's a little more yellowed like the rest of it. And then I'll show you, hopefully, how we're going to put this together. So here's our lure. I think this will do for the body. We have our lure that we're going to cannibalize. So the next thing we have to do is see if we can pull off all of these screws, the front piece, the back, the hooks, and sort of see if we can fish a wire right down the center of our Lego and hold all this back together. So that'll be the engineering part. So let's see if we can pull this guy apart now. So here's the body of our lure, and you can see that these propeller pieces thread in, but there's not a lot of holding ability on a Lego, so I really think if you catch a fish, it's going to pull right out. So what I'm going to end up doing is taking a piece of aluminum wire, twisting it, and we're going to embed it in the middle of this lure, which gives it then a solid wire core for the hooks and everything to hang off of. So that way, if even the lure breaks apart, we'll still have the fish on the internal wire. So that's kind of what it'll look like. Let's go ahead, let's start bending wire and figuring it out. So what we're using today is just a simple aluminum electric fence wire. It's very easy to bend. It works super well for this, very strong. Should have no problem bending this and putting it inside our fishing lure. So we have our chunk of aluminum wire and a small round screwdriver. So what we're going to end up doing is twisting this around the screwdriver to get our basically screw eye head right on the end. So it's nice and tight. And now with our pliers, we're going to tighten that up. So you can see there's our screw eye. And now we're just going to cut off the tail end here and then carry on with our proper length. And in the middle, we're going to drop down and put a center hook. So that way we can add an extra treble. So here's our first eyelet made. Now if we go and put that right up tight to the center of our lure, we're not going to have enough space for this spinner. So what we're going to end up doing is, we found this lead shot. We're going to thread it on our wire here. And not only is that going to give us the ability to sink, but it's going to spread this out so we can put our spinner right at the head of this. And we'll probably do the exact same on the back end too. So that way it'll give it a bit of a weight, so that way we don't have to fill it nearly as much with lead on the bottom to make it sink. Because Lego does float. So we unscrewed our propeller off of the little screw eye here. Has a little tiny washer. So we're going to feed that all now on our wire that's going to go inside our Lego. And now for our lead shot. And we have our spinner that's now going to go in the front of our lure. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to drop down into the center of the lure, right about here. And we're going to put a twist eye down below the bottom of the lure here so we can add another treble hook right in the middle. So we're going to mark the center of roughly where we want our center hook to be. So on that dot, and we're going to create a down and then a loop and back up and then over. So now we need to mark the end of the lure. Right there. Now don't forget, we're going to put another one of those weights. So we need about that much distance, and then our eyelet. So we want our eyelet right just past that second mark. So there, are you ready for this? I screwed up. I needed to put on the lead weight before we twist the eyelet in. So now we got to undo this and put it all back together with the weight on it. Dumb. But that's what happens. So let's fix this. So I went through a few iterations. As you can see, I made a couple that were too short, some that weren't quite the right twist. But now we have exactly what we need. So we have a loop, we have our propellers, our weight, our center loop, which is going to hang down under the middle, and then our finishing loop. Done. So that's going to basically sit inside the Lego, just like so. So in order to make this fit inside this Lego, we basically have to melt a channel. Oh, this is where our Lego removal tool helps. We have to melt a channel right down the center of the Lego. And we don't want to really melt this one because that's the structural integrity of the bottom Lego. So we're going to have to melt the top. So we're going to use our soldering iron with our cutting tip on it. And we're going to melt a slot right down the center and then a hole right here for this one to drop through the bottom Lego. And then it's just going to sit. And then when it's all said and done, we're going to glue it all together. So the first thing we need to do is sort of mark that out and cut a path for that wire to go through. Right down the center of those circles. Now the big test is, will they clip back together? Oh, look at that. And the wire right in between. So now we just have to shape it for the centerpiece. And we can put it all back together. So we have our channel melted out for the wire. We came back in with our knife and we just sort of chipped away the little extra bits of plastic. So now the other piece can snap right on the bottom and hold everything in place. But now we have to figure out where we're going to have to channel out for this guy. So we want to leave enough room at the front to allow our propeller to spin freely off the front. So I think if we take out right here, basically removing that one, then it should just drop right through. So the easy answer is just to drill out this third hole. And there we have it. Now our hook can drop right through there. So now we have our hole removed. I'm going to set that in. It sits right down flush. Now hopefully with the channel we made in the next one. Oh, beautiful. So now we cut a channel in this guy, and this one should hold it all together. Look at that. Spinner in the front, spinner in the back, weighted front and back. Beautiful.
So now that we have the basics of our lure together, the next thing we want to do is we want to glue them together. So I could use super glue, but super glue more than likely is going to melt the Lego. So we're going to use an epoxy resin instead. 2-part 5-minute epoxy, equal parts hardener, equal parts glue. Gives you setup time, which is nice. And it's going to become just hard as a rock when it's finished. Next piece.
So there's our Lego lure all glued up. We got weights and spinners, front and back. So now we just have to basically test its buoyancy, see if it needs some lead melted into the bottom to hopefully reduce its buoyancy, keep it in the water, and then we have to attach our treble hooks, front and back, or middle and back, I should say, and then it's ready to go. So our fishing lure is all glued up, solid, everything's functional on it. Now the only thing we need to do is add hooks to the back and to the belly. And to do that, we are going to use a split ring. So we're going to add split rings onto here and use our existing treble hooks that came with the first old lure. But this one has a little screw eye attached to it, so we got to open that up and take that off first. There we go. Now we have our hook free. right. There we have it. There's our makeshift Lego lure. It's basically a stick bait, ready to go for water trials. So we have our container of water here. Let's drop our lure in for our first water trial and see what happens. Oh man, it actually sinks. I thought for sure it was gonna float. But it doesn't sink very much. It's almost a suspended lure. Oh, this is gonna work perfectly. Well, there you have it, folks. Here's our stick bait that we made out of Lego. Hopefully it's gonna work for us. We're going up next week on our fishing trip. So we're gonna put this together at the Derby and hopefully go after that coveted Lego Cup. So stay tuned, I'll be posting that video in another little while. Remember, it's life out there in the woods.